Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. This is Jason from Dropshipping University coming back at you with a brand new episode. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about the top 5 qualifications to look for with using wholesale suppliers. There's 5 key things that you want to be asking and looking for when basically vetting out new wholesale suppliers. And if you don't do this correctly, you could end up spending a lot of time and money using wholesale suppliers, which are truly posers. They're not real wholesale suppliers. They're making themselves seem like they are wholesale suppliers. So if this sounds good to you guys, be prepared because I have a whole PowerPoint set up and ready to go for you. Make sure you watch all the way to the end where I have a little treat for you guys. And also, if you could do me a favor and smash that like button, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the little bell notification. That way you get notified every single time I put out videos just like this. So if this sounds good to you guys, let's jump right into my computer. Okay, so here we are inside of my computer, and as you can see, I put together a hierarchy of the top 5 qualifications for good suppliers. And it's really important to note that each one of these is dependent on the one before it. So for example, the first qualification is what you should have on a checklist when you go and you're trying to get a wholesale agreement with a supplier. If they do not allow you to do number 1, then you cannot move on to number 2 because they are all dependent of each other. So first thing that's really important that you need to ask the wholesale supplier when you're trying to get an agreement with them is if they do order fulfillment, also known as drop shipping. One of the easiest ways to find this out is by either asking them on the phone or looking on their website to see if they have MOQs, which stands for minimum order quantities. Now, a minimum order quantity is a very typical thing that's kind of like old school wholesale suppliers would have, where you'd have to buy a certain amount of product in order to actually buy from this supplier. So for example, they might have an MOQ of 100 units. So you'd have to buy 100 units in order to actually buy from the supplier. This is an easy way to figure out if they actually will do drop shipping. So if they don't have any MOQs, if you can buy 1 unit at a time, then the subsequent question to the wholesale supplier is, do you guys also do order fulfillment? Because most likely if they offer no MOQ, then they also offer drop shipping services. That's a really quick and convenient way to figure out if they do drop shipping. Now, you can't actually go resell their products if they don't allow drop shipping, because if they don't allow drop shipping, that defeats the entire purpose of this business model. If they have specific MOQs that you have to abide by, then you'd be doing a different model, which is buying wholesale product and then storing them in your own possession and then reselling them however you see fit. That's a completely different business model, also known as wholesaling. So we don't want to be doing that. That's why you have to ask this question up front. The second question, which is really important as well, is asking them if you are allowed to resell their products onto marketplaces like eBay. Now, this is kind of a tricky thing because a lot of wholesale suppliers who don't know you, they don't know your track record, they necessarily will not allow you to resell on marketplaces. So in the case that they don't allow you to resell on marketplaces, you're going to have to take a couple of extra steps, figure out if they can work with you long term and make exceptions for you to resell their products on eBay. And if they don't allow you to resell their products on eBay and they're very strict about those terms, then you can just eliminate them as a supplier right then and there. All of the suppliers that you work with will not allow reselling on eBay, but you need to make sure up front that they allow it. It can save you a lot of effort and time down the road and some miscommunications and some other things further down the line when you actually have orders coming in. The third requirement is they make you have a website. If you have to have a website, and this is something that you'll generally see in the wholesale application section, I should have also prefaced this with saying that all of these different steps, all of these different qualifications come at different points. So for example, the order fulfillment aspect, you're going to have to figure that out usually even before you contact the supplier. Sometimes you have to figure that out on the phone or through email talking to these wholesale suppliers. However, something like a website requirement, you're going to see that on a wholesale application. That is generally the spot that you will see it. And then wholesale pricing and brand selection 4 and 5, those are going to generally be things that you won't be able to find find out until you've already been approved by the supplier and you now have unlocked their wholesale inventory sheet, and you can see the actual SKUs or the products that you are able to resell. So each one of these kind of comes at a different stage, but they're all really important that you understand where they come into play. So a website requirement, not every single wholesale supplier is going to mandate that you have a website in their niche or a domain. So that would be a www. A lot of times people will host them on Shopify or WooCommerce, WordPress. That is a website that is off of Amazon or eBay. You can put up shell websites. There's a lot of ways to actually get a website up and running for the products that are related to the niche that you are trying to resell. So this is something that you can actually do in less than an hour, but I would say that you can mostly avoid having to have a website because a lot of these suppliers don't necessarily care if you have that website. It always helps to have a website. I will say that it's not always required, but it always helps with your approval chances. And number 4, the fourth most important qualification is the wholesale pricing. And as I said before, you're not going to usually know if they offer real wholesale pricing or true wholesale pricing until you've already been accepted by the supplier. So you've already done some work in getting approval to resell their products. Now you have been given access usually to a CSV file of all of their inventory. This is called a stock sheet, or you can see it directly in a gated wholesale portal. And at that point, you're going to see how competitive their prices truly are. True wholesale pricing is usually a 50% markdown. So if you have a product that has an MSRP, manufacturer's suggested retail price of $100, then the true wholesale price for that product would be $50, allowing you a lot of room for profit margin. And that's why it's really important to make sure that they have true wholesale prices. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of posers out there. There's a lot of companies that make it seem as though they offer their products at wholesale pricing, when in fact it's not true wholesale pricing. Sometimes it'll only be a small markdown, or even sometimes it's higher than retail price, giving you the impression that you're buying wholesale when in fact you are not. Unfortunately, in the United States, the word wholesale has no legal ramifications. So you will see companies and brands with the name wholesale in their name. That actually has no legal bearing. It doesn't actually take form in their pricing necessarily. So that's something to keep in the back of your mind when you're going through these websites. Always ask as many questions as you can before even bothering to go and apply for a wholesale application, because you can save yourself a lot of time and effort. The 5th qualification is brand selection. And again, this is going to be after you've already been accepted by the wholesale supplier, more than likely. If they offer products that sell really well, this is going to be a wholesale supplier that you want to work with. If they have a whole bunch of generic hodgepodge goods that don't have any sales history on any of the marketplaces, then most likely those products aren't going to sell. And if they do sell, you are going to be the one who has to go and bulk upload a lot of products to find out if there's actually demand on eBay for those products. And if you want to save yourself a lot of time and energy, you're going to avoid wholesale suppliers that do not have hot selling products. This is just a general idea of the top 5 qualifications for good suppliers that you can work with. Now, there's a lot of suppliers out there. There's a lot of different types of suppliers out there. And as I said before, there's a lot of posers, companies trying to make it seem like they're legitimate wholesale suppliers, when in fact they're just trying to be another middleman inside of the supply chain, passing on no discount, no real discount onto you. So you have to be on the lookout, and you have to make sure that all of these 5 qualifications are checked off. This is basically a roadmap, a checklist for you when you're going to get approvals and resell the products from the wholesale supplier. All right, guys, so there you have it. Those are the top 5 qualifications of good wholesale suppliers to use on eBay. You want to make sure that that wholesale supplier can take care of order fulfillment, also known as drop shipping. You want to make sure that they will allow you to resell their products on marketplaces such as Amazon and eBay. You definitely want to see what their website requirement is. Sometimes it's optional, sometimes it is mandatory for you to have a website. If that is the case, then you can always spin up a shell website website, and I talk about that in a video. I'll link it up here. And the fourth thing is you want to make sure that they're offering you true wholesale pricing. If they are not giving you real wholesale pricing or exclusive discounts because you're a business, then you're probably not working with a true wholesale supplier or manufacturer. You're working with a poser, somebody making it seem like they are a wholesale supplier or manufacturer. And the last thing is the brand selection. And the reason being is because if you can find private label products from these companies, then it's going to be a lot easier for you to go and snipe those products and then, go into eBay and sell those products and find products that are actually in demand. It makes the process much easier. So if you enjoyed this content, make sure to smash that like button. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Hit the little bell notification so that every single time I put out new videos, you will be notified. Be sure to click down in the description. There is a link to my new Instagram channel. I put a lot of new exclusive content up every single day on there, so check that out. So if you enjoyed this, again, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will see you in the next one.